Hi everyone, I'm Kevin with My Shop Assist. In this video, I'm going to be going over purchase orders, which is the third part of our 4-video series on the parts inventory. So in the first part, we went over the quantity on hand and tracking inventory on parts. We'll have a link to that video in here as well. The second part, I went over the vendor table, and the vendor table is really important in order to be able to start using the purchase orders. And then this is how we actually do the purchase orders. I'm going to begin by going into the parts page, and we'll kind of show you how the whole thing works from there. So hold on. Okay, here we are now, and we're going to go into the parts page. So by default, we're going to see the order status page. So this is where you're going to be getting most of the parts onto purchase orders from. But as you can see, there is an actual purchase order tab here. So the actual purchase order tab is just going to be a list of all the purchase orders you have. So whether it be, these are like open vendors, and then these are what we call the MSA vendors. They'll have a little green garage icon next to them. So we can create POs from this page. I think that will happen for sure for everybody, but most of what you're going to want to be doing is through these order status page. So I'm just going to walk through the first one here as one single part, and then I'll show you some variations on how that works in here. So let's start with adding this Exedi Twin HD clutch kit to a PO. So if I click this part, this has already been marked as need to order on a job. So you should already know how to do that if you've gotten this far. But every part on every job, you can click a button that says need to order, and it will add it to this list. So we see this list. We go ahead and create PO. In this case, there was no vendor assigned to that part. So we can just click the button and pick one. So maybe we're getting this from Jimmy's Performance Parts. And we want this shipped to our shop. So this is our shop address right here. It automatically increments the PO number, and we have our one part. So along the top here are going to be the functions for these POs. So we can print the PO if you just want a paper version of it. This is for saving it. This is for marking it as ordered. This is for emailing it to the vendor, deleting the PO, and closing the modal. So what I generally do when I'm doing this is I will start by clicking the Save PO. So if this is the only part I need on this order, it's for a job that we've already marked a part as need to order, and this is the vendor I'm going to get it through, I'm just going to hit Save PO, and then either I'm going to be emailing it to them or I'm going to be marking it as ordered. If I'm still like ordering this part from, say, like a website, and I'm not going to be emailing the PO, you can just click the mark as ordered button. And so that will mark the part as ordered. Once you have done that, you can then add your fee or discount. So this would be like, hey, I ordered the part. What was the shipping? So you can come in here and you can say, hey, we need a new one. Let's call it shipping. And maybe it was $9.99, a flat amount for shipping, and we go ahead and hit save. And that will add the shipping to the order as well. So now you have an actual total for your PO. At this point, you can just, it's already been saved. We can save it again, which will save the shipping on here, and we can close it. That part is now going to be off of this need to order list, and it is now going to be on the ordered list because we created a PO for it and we marked it as ordered. Inside of that job, it will say ordered. And when we go to the purchase order list, we can see that on the top here. So PO number 17. So if I click into this, it brings me back into the PO. And the next step would be is when you've received the part, when FedEx or UPS drops it off and you want to mark it as received, you can come into this PO and you can do it here. Or you can also do it from your order status page. So we have traditionally this is how it's always been worked before, and we can still do it here. So this ordered page, we have the line item that we received. It will say view PO, receive from PO, receive not from PO, or undo order. If you've ordered it from a PO, you are basically always going to want to be clicking this receive from PO button. That means it's going to mark the purchase order as received. There are some oddball cases where you're not receiving it from the PO, which is why we have the option to do that. Or you can click into it to view the PO specifically. But in this case, I'm just going to mark it as received. And it's going to take it off this list. It'll show it as received in the job. It's on the received page. And in the purchase order is now going to say received. So this purchase order has been completed. If you are using QuickBooks, the very next step is to export it. Now, this is a test shop. I don't have it connected to QuickBooks, but there is a button here with a cloud icon. If you click the cloud icon, it will export it to QuickBooks as a bill. So it'll take that purchase order, it'll put it in QuickBooks as in a bill, and now you can have QuickBooks handle your P&L exactly how you want it to, because you have income from jobs and you have expenses from your cost of goods sold, which is coming from your bills. So that's the very basic of a purchase order. So now I'm going to go into some more complicated versions of this. So let's go to the order status, and I'm going to go back to the need to order page. And here's a couple different examples, right? So in this case, I have two different jobs, both needing an ACT heavy-duty clutch kit. What I want to do with this one is I want to select both of these parts. And you know what? I also need to get this turbo kit. I'm going to get it from Extreme Performance Parts as well, even though it shows on here Jimmy's Performance Parts as the vendor. I can click this part here, and I can create a PO. And it will let me select either of them. I can change it if I don't want it to be Extreme Performance. If I want it to be that Jimmy's Performance Parts, you can change the vendor here. But in this case, two of them came from Extreme. I want the third one to also come from Extreme. What we do, though, is two of those parts were the same. So here I have the ACT Heavy Duty Clutch Kit, and now it shows a quantity of 2. We want to see these jobs here. First, I'm going to mark them as ordered. And next, I can click this little hamburger icon, and it shows me the 2 jobs that I'm connected to. So it's got the first one, which is job 10005, and then job 10000. Both of them have not arrived, the status of them, right? So they're still independent to the job they are connected to, but they are a single line on this purchase order. I'm going to go ahead and close this a second, and you can see on the ordered page, they're all coming from Extreme Performance Parts, which means this turbo kit here, it did switch the vendor to the one that we're ordering it from, because originally it had a different vendor on here, but we ordered it from Extreme Performance Parts. So we can go back into view the PO. These parts have been ordered, and when we receive them, we can go back to the order status page. So I can mark this one part as received from the PO. And we can see on here that that line now is shown as received, but the other ones are not. Now, what if you have the case of like we received one, but not both of these clutch kits? So we can click this little button here, and maybe we only got one of them. So we can clear it, and we just got one of these received. And we can receive it. So it will still show as unreceived, but if we go to the page here, one of them is gone, right? Because one of them did get received out of the 2. So then we would go, and when we get the second of the batch in, we can come in here and we can mark it as received. And we pick the last one, and we click receive, and now everything has been received. The little checkbox goes green. So we can do partial, I guess, receiving partial orders, and we can do that in here, and it's not a problem. Again, this one you could also export. So that's the basics of the purchase orders. You can email them, and it does create so if I click this purchase order button, let's say Extreme, let me find the vendor that has here we go. So this has my actual email on it. So I'm going to go to this PO right here. We'll go into this PO, and I'm going to undo it, and I'm going to email it. And so it will show like essentially like a QuickBooks formatted email, and then it will attach a PDF of the order. So I'm going to CC this to myself. I'm going to go ahead and send it. It will send this PO to me, and then we'll open it up in my email. Okay, successfully sent off. We go to my emails now. We refresh it, and we got our PO right here, PO 17, sent by MSA Auto Restoration, LLC. Please fulfill the order. If we look at the order, it has the clutch kit on it, right? So this is exactly how you would send a normal PO through email. So yeah, that's the gist of it. If you have any questions how POs work, just let me know. But most of the icons kind of self-explanatory how it works. It's important if you're trying to track any inventory at all that you need to be making purchase orders to be able to receive the parts into your system. The next video, I'm going to go over how the vendor connected purchase orders work, which are very similar, but they have this little garage icon. There's quite a bit more complexity to the system, but it makes it very, very easy for you to manage your parts. So thanks for watching, and stay tuned for the next video.